That's wait, why is it called episode 3 stream? It's not episode 3.
It's probably because it was just preset
Oh,
already.
okay, yeah. Well, we'll just change that. We don't have to.
It's weird too, because with like the weight loss thing, like I look skinny, right?
Uh-huh.
But I don't feel it. If that makes sense. I feel like the same way I was when I was like 205 pounds.
Yeah. I feel like you don't
Man,
really I I feel like unless you like really really go from like a massive weight change. Like I mean yours was pretty big too, but someone who's like maybe 250 or like 300 pounds down to like
yeah,
140, doing a lot of cardio, doing a lot of stretches. I think that's when you start feeling things really different. But like
I know.
getting rid of a lot of fat essentially.
I mean, I definitely do feel it when I try and like some old clothes. Like when I went to school,
Uh-huh.
like I wore something more slimmer than I usually wear, and man, I definitely feel the difference. Like you even look in the mirror, I'm like, damn, for real? Is this me?
Yeah. I felt that way when I put on some old shirts that I had. I had some old shirts that were still pretty baggy for me, but when I started working out and I started eating more, when I put them on, I'm like, "Oh my God. My arms fit the sides. Like I actually fill up the shirt now.
I
It's
know,
not
right?
baggy anymore. It's so nice." And then when quarantine happened, when I stopped working out and I stopped eating not healthy, but I stopped eating like a lot. I noticed that like what's it called? I noticed that some of the shirts that I used to fill, I don't fill anymore.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. So that was kind of a huge shock for me. I think I lose weight easily, but I gain weight. I gain weight harder. I think. I'm not too sure on that.
I'm quite the opposite. I gain weight pretty easily, um, but I lose weight a little bit slower than I gain weight. I think it's how my body's made.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Pause Menu Podcast.
Uh,
My name is Alibraha. I'll be referred to as Rap in this thing,
can I?
and this is my other host, Etoy20.
What's up,
Uh oh,
guys?
do we have a ooh?
Did you hear that?
What?
I mean, it was. I don't know if it's like on my end, but on your end, but like you like static hard when you
Oh
were
goodness.
hopefully it doesn't show up in the actual stream. You can see it, but hopefully that's just on my end. I hope that's not on your end, or I hope that's not on like the
Okay.
stream's end. But we're gonna keep rolling with that. Hi guys, it's Ito20 here. Welcome to what episode is this?
It would have been 5, but it's 4 since last week.
Oh, that's true.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. Are we good now? By the way, my mic.
Yeah, you're
Hopefully,
you're
it's
good
not
now.
that good.
Hopefully that's just my headphones or something, or I don't know. But
Okay, good.
yeah. So this is episode 4 of Pause Menu Podcast. If you guys haven't seen the video that we posted early, or not early, late last week, we had some technical issues with the allegedly episode 4. So that so I guess you could consider that the lost episode. Um, but we had some technical issues, so we are just gonna continue with this week's episode. Hopefully things work out better this week. We are repeating the same thing that we did for episode 3, so this should be like for all intents and purposes, this should be fine.
Hopefully, like, aside from like just um connectivity with Discord and everything else, like that last stream
Mm-hmm.
or that last recording we did was like very botched. Like it wasn't as like fluid as the last 3 were. But, like it wasn't conversation feeling. It feels like it was like a little rushed. And I know that I was thrown off by like I was a little annoyed by how many issues we were having.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the same for you, but the conversation was just kind of thrown off the edge
No,
there.
yeah, I was thrown up too. I was sitting here like, do I continue the conversation or do I just like awkwardly get out of the stream? We're gonna stop the recording, guys. That kind of thing. I'm like, it
Yeah,
was,
right. It was bad.
yeah.
So hopefully this week's is a lot better. For now, just aside the mini update, um, we will just have Etoy do all of the recording. For now until I can get my laptop situation or get a better piece of equipment for recording.
Wait, I'm supposed to be recording right now.
Um, No, so
Okay.
like we're recording, but we're streaming. We're streaming.
Okay, okay. I was like, hold up. I didn't hit the start record button on
Yeah, we're good.
OBS. So,
Um, for reference, this is the only way I'll be able to edit the video is if eToy streams it privately, and then I'll be able to download it.
yeah.
But
So you guys want to
aside,
see the stream. But I mean, in the
yeah,
future though, we might think about streaming live our recording sessions and then maybe answering fan questions. We don't know if you want to do that.
if it's interesting enough.
Yeah. Or maybe like we don't have any more topics and we're like, okay, we're gonna answer some fan questions. I think if we get like a moderator at some point, where they can pick out like, you know, good fan questions and then send it over to us, that's when we can be like, oh, okay, here we go. Like we're gonna answer this question right here. But for now we're just gonna do
Yeah,
private recordings.
yep.
All right.
Hopefully we do get to that point, and I have no doubt we will. I'm excited for that. But yeah. I guess we'll just go right into icebreaker, right?
Yeah, I'm ready for this.
So as of recent, I just started going to school Monday, yesterday. At the time we're recording, and alongside that, I was doing some homework like very last minute because I procrastinated. Um, and that's like aside from college application stuff, which is already a handful in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering. It's been a stressful couple of days for me, for sure.
Right.
Um, what are some of the ways or different strategies you use to kind of decompress or de-stress after a long week or a long day?
How not safe for work can we go in this podcast?
Uh, to test the waters a little bit. We'll test it. Let's
Jerking
see how
off.
bad it is.
That's how I used to de-stress.
Okay.
Okay. So like, I mean, that's not a wrong answer, but like,
No, definitely not.
I guess I should give a much more serious answer. So when I was in high school, I mean, I guess like through college as well, one of the ways I would de-stress myself is to just play video games. Just after like a long week of school. So what I used to do back in high school was after like a long week of school, when I get home on a Friday, I don't even think about homework. I just go, I'm just gonna play like right now. Like I sacrifice Monday through Thursday and just don't, for the most part, don't play at all. And then once I get home, I'm just gonna play video games. I'm just, like, I'm gonna play video games and then try to do my homework tomorrow, and then just play it a Saturday night or whatever like that. That's usually what I do, which was a good strategy if it wasn't for the fact that I played a little bit too much video games on those days. So I ended up not getting a lot of homework done on the weekends. So I would end up like rushing all my work on Sunday night. I'm like, oh shit, it's already 2 a.m. I gotta get this paper done. I gotta do a speech. I gotta all this stuff. Yeah, no. So that was the numero uno way of me sort of decompressing with like a stressful week essentially.
Hmm. Was there any sort of like game you just default to in case you like just needed something quick just to play, just to de-stress or something?
Uh, I guess if I wanted to do something quick, it would just be Call of Duty, just because most matches are like less than 10 minutes long. Like you don't really.
Mhm.
But then I would end up playing for like 2 hours, especially if I played
Oh
with
boy.
people. So I mean, yeah, Call of Duty's
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, Call of Duty is like a good way to just get like some quick de-stresses out. I guess like just doing like an hour and a half session of any single player game would be nice as well, especially if you're playing a short game or like something that's not an RPG that doesn't require a lot of grinding. You're usually making some good progress within those games. Unless you're playing like a Souls game, then you're probably not making good progress until like 4 hours into the stream. Uh,
That is true.
yeah,
Oh my goodness.
Sekiro was so I recently played Sekiro, as many of my viewers know. And Sekiro was the first game that I felt like I'm not making any progress after 4 hours of playing. Like I was stuck in the same boss for 4 hours. I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna complete this game. But I feel like for any other game, right, like any other single player game, you would make a good amount of progress in 1 to 2 hours, and I feel like that's enough for anyone to de-stress. So it would make you feel good because you feel like you accomplished something. You know?
Yeah, and like another thing too is like yeah, it may not feel like you're like accomplishing anything. But say you're using like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Sekiro as like a de-stress for a game. Like yeah, you're building up more stress as the hours go on, but once you finally beat that boss in that one session, it feels like everything just alleviates or just leaves your body, right?
Yeah. The adrenaline rush of beating a hard boss is I think a big reason as to why I like to play games on, or I like to play some games on hard difficulty, right? Like like I think I only really do that when it's with a game that um, is known to have some sort of credibility when it comes to the difficultiness of it. So something like, well, there's no difficulty slider in the Soulsborne games, but something like Kingdom Hearts, for example, critical mode and doing like the post game super bosses are known to be very difficult challenges, and it's kind of like I don't want to say clout, but it's kind of like it's kind of like a status kind of thing. If you're able to beat them, like you're part of the cool kids club or like the elite club in a sense, right? So I do that for that, but I don't do that for games like Call of Duty. If I'm playing the campaign for those games, I would never go veteran mode, unless I'm really bored. But I would just want to get the campaign done right away, so I would just pick like regular, if anything else, you know.
Yeah, and like essentially there's no skill involved when you're playing like a campaign on veteran. It's just more for yourself. But when you play a game like obviously Bloodborne or the Soul series, or what I did, it was God of War. I just played immediately on the second hardest difficulty, and then New Game Plus the hardest difficulty. And it's just like it feels different with those kind of games because they have a set up system. Like with God of War, you can parry, you have multiple weapons, different arrow types, and obviously the hard bosses, the Valkyries, the hardest boss in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when you beat those on even higher difficulty, you're just like, yeah, I am part of this elite club.
Yeah.
Of course, for some people, it could be easier than others. Like for me, the example is I don't find Bloodborne hard, like at all. Like I'm like when I finished, uh, I haven't beat the final boss yet, but I'm basically there. I haven't really spent over 30 minutes on a boss yet. The closest one was probably the Shadow of Yharnam. For those of you who knows Bloodborne, it was just because there was a lot you had to test, and it was the first like an early boss that you had to face, which really tested your ability to dodge and then um, micromanage the different enemy types. Other than that, uh, the little side thing, I guess went off topic, but um, what were you talking about?
We're talking about icebreakers actually, or no, not
Oh,
icebreakers. Sorry, we were
shoot.
talking about what are ways that we de-stress for
Yeah,
work.
that was
Yeah,
a question.
like after like a full day, full week's worth of school or work. So yeah, for me it's video games and just I don't know. I guess sleeping is another one too. Like after you're done, just go to nap. I guess take a nap. Yeah.
Definitely.
What about you?
Uh,
What do you do to de-stress?
Ooh, man, there's a lot. Depending on how I feel. If I feel like, because I feel like for me, there's different types of stress for when I do it. There's like a stress where it's just like you're overwhelmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like with homework in school. So like for that type of stress, I just go into like you did. I just play video games, and be just take my mind off all the like homework and college stuff, and just relax. Um, and obviously, as a recent, we started doing podcasts, so it's a good thing I was doing this like right after school, which helps me de-stress as well, which is a friendly conversation.
Yeah.
Um, Doing YouTube editing stuff is just simple, minuscule tasks that I do. But for when I'm like annoyed, stressed, or like angrily stressed,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'd probably just one of two. I'd probably go to sleep. But the other one is I'd probably lift or just exercise because that way I can just take all my anger out when I'm pushing my body or pushing my weight to the point where it's just like, okay, I'm done, I'm relaxed, but now my body's dying.
Yeah. That's a good that's a good statement too. Because I was actually going to ask you, do you count lifting as a form of de-stress? And I guess you already answered that.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
for me, when it comes to like when I'm if I'm ever like angry or whatever, I kind of just let's see here. I think I just try to keep my mind like recently I just try to keep my mind off of it. Or what I used to do was just play video games and just take my anger out on that one. I find myself doing better at multiplayer games when I'm angry because then I think of like all the stuff that makes me angry and I just pour it all onto my onto my enemies. So If I ever get like 100 kills in shipment, yeah, I'm probably angry at that point. No, I'm just kidding. No, the times that I got 100 kills on
Yeah.
shipment were like I really wanted to get 100 kills on shipment. But for me, like I don't really consider. I guess I'm kind of different this way, but I don't consider lifting um, a form of de-stress for me. I can't look at it as a form of de-stressing. I guess it's a way for me to get away from whatever it is that I'm like, what's it called? Like let's say like school stuff or stuff at home, but right. But like if I'm angry, I not that I don't go to the gym when I'm angry, but I don't use the gym as a way to output my um output my stress. And I think the reason why is because I see the gym as just sort of like another activity that I need to do for the day. It's just it's what's it called? It's kind of like you're going to school, and then you're going to let's say like an after school club or something like that, right? I see the gym as like some sort of after school club or like a sport that I would play like after school after work. It's a necessary activity for me. It's just another part of my day. It's not like it's not like a relaxing it's not like a relaxing thing. It's supposed to be like an active thing that I engage myself with. So
Mhm.
that's probably why I don't see myself de-stressing at the gym because I'm too focused on the
Okay.
activity.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
See, the way I think about it is that like, so yeah, obviously it's another way you can just take your mind off things. But what I've learned through football is that I just take out my anger on what I'm doing so that I will work harder. And then by the end of it, because with working out, if I don't work myself at a certain point or hard enough, I won't feel satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks to football, they've taught me how to really like push my body to the point where you know where you're working it. And so now every time I'm just working out alone or working in the gym, I feel satisfied after I work out because I know how to work out. I guess somewhat more efficiently for myself. So that's why I use it as a way to de-stress because I know at the end of my workouts I will feel satisfied or have that feeling of accomplishment
Yeah.
as opposed to school where sometimes you do like hours of studying and then maybe you didn't do as well as on the test as you think you did, and obviously you won't be as accomplished as you feel now.
Yeah. I feel like football teaches you a lot about um, like body discipline in a sense. Like what's it called? Or I guess like discipline in the gym, because I mean, besides like one person or I guess two people, I think I don't know maybe three people. I think most of the people that I go to the gym with or that I know are usually football players. Like you know who I'm talking about, right? Like the
Or used to be football
or
players
use
in your case.
yeah. So it's like I feel like they know how to. I feel like the football players know how to what's it called? Push their body to not necessarily its limits, but into a way that they would be making a very efficient workout out of their session.
Hmm.
And that's actually something that I'm having trouble with right now, in a sense that I can still push myself, right? But I feel like it's weird because the way that I train like a power lifter. So I'm usually doing like 5 reps for my working sets, and I would only do like 8 reps when I'm doing like a burnout set or something, right? But I feel like what really burns me out, or what stops me from like doing the rest, is my own either my own strength or my own stamina that stops me. Like after like 5 reps of let's say a heavy deadlift, I don't have the strength to keep pushing forward anymore. Or let's say after 5 reps of a heavy squat, I don't have a stamina. I don't have the stamina to keep pushing forward. But I feel like my legs didn't really get much of a workout out of that. Like it's not like when you're bodybuilding, you're doing like 8 to 12 reps, you're really feeling your muscles tense. I don't feel that way when I'm doing 5 reps. Unless I'm like doing really really heavy 5 reps, then that's when I start feeling it. But you know, it's kind of like a sorry, 1 second. Apa sige. So it's kind of like you don't feel like you worked out, but you did actually work out. You know?
Yeah, I got what you're feeling. Like, for example, my next door neighbor, my best friend, uh, he's working on his body as well. He's on the skinnier side. He's really skinny. Um, But as of recently, he's grown muscle because I was able to teach him the way I was able to train,
Hmm.
or somewhat guide him to train. And the way that I always tell him is like, make sure your body never gets used to what you're doing. Like, if you always want to have that sore feeling, make sure you're doing different activities, or make sure your body isn't trying to predict what you're going to do. Because recently I just watched a video of Arnold, um, Schwarzenegger, and how he trained, right? And what he said was always just this: just shock the body, shock the muscle, the shock principle. So what he means by that is that once you work out a certain amount of times, your body will get used to how you operate, right? So like after I do bench, I go do incline bench, and after incline bench, I go do flies, that stuff.
Yeah.
So what Arnold suggests, and what football taught me as well, is that you want to mix it up. Like, you want to maybe next time start out with incline bench and then move to flies and then move to bench.
Was
Or
Sorry, was that the reps until failure video?
mm, no, there's a different one. This one was literally just called How Arnold Bodybuild, or How He Trained Before.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, because I thought it was I think I saw a clip of that, like what you were talking about, but I thought it was in this one video. It's called like Reps Until Failure, and the video starts with like Arnold like spotting, quote unquote, spotting one of his friends or one of his gym buddies, and the guy's like squatting, I think like 315 or something like that, something huge, right? And he's going there like the dude's after like the sixth rep, the dude is like dying, like you can see it from like the way he expresses his voice and his face. It's like he's dying, but Arnold's like, come on, give me four more. I'm like, dude, I would have stopped at like the fourth rep already, holy shit. And he just kept going and going and going, and after like finishing his set, the dude just passes out on the ground. I'm like, holy shit, like Arnold trains hard.
Mhm. And that's the thing too. It's like he's obviously at his prime. His body was amazing looking, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing we need to implement more for us in terms of what we want to do, right? So if you want to get stronger, mix it up. So like, don't always go for strength. Go for hypertrophy one day, and then go to strength the next couple of days, right?
Yeah.
Or what I do, the way I've been able to, for just extra context, recently I hit my goal right before school started for my weight loss. A total of 25.6 pounds I've lost during quarantine. And the way I was able to lose all that weight, was literally just mix up my eating habits. So obviously, the only thing consistent throughout the quarantine is that I fast for 16 plus hours, and then I eat whatever in my time slot.
Mhm.
But the way I do it is that I'd weigh myself every morning, and say if I weigh heavier one morning than the other, I would eat significantly less. Like, I don't record my calories, but so about 300 less, I would say. Or if I weigh a little bit lighter the next day, I would either eat a little bit less depending on how I feel in the morning, or more, right? If I'm hungry or not. And that way your body's still on that um on like a scale where it's like, okay, is he gonna go this way or that way? So your body's not expecting what you're gonna do, so it has to adapt to what you're trying to do.
You gotta shock
So
the body, basically.
exactly.
I like to shock my body by telling myself that I'm gonna go to the gym and then not end up going to the gym. Surprise! Like
Surprise, got you there.
that's actually me with like cardio. It's like, yeah, today I'm gonna run. Surprise! Didn't run today.
Hmm.
No, I'm supposed to run today.
Hey man, it's all good. All good.
I can still do it Monday,
Um
but I don't know if I have the time. I'm trying to like cut down my weight a little bit just because we were talking earlier about how like you felt skinny fat, right? In a sense where you
mhm.
felt skinny but you felt fat at the same time. That feeling is the reason why I started working out. Um, when I was like when I was around, I think I was 20 at the time, either 19 or 20. I I really didn't like how I felt, like with my body. Not the image. I mean, yeah, the image I didn't like. I didn't like it, but more so how I felt internally. I was like, man, like I have a belly, but at the same time I'm skinny in the outside. Like that's I hate that so much. You know, you don't look unathletic, but you feel unathletic, in a sense, or you don't look like you don't look heavy, but you feel heavy, and I think that's like the worst part of that. So I wanted to change that, by getting into weightlifting, and hopefully like by sweating while weightlifting, it's also gonna sweat out the other what's it called, the fat away, right? Then I found out that no, I actually had to like start running for that. So I was like, all right, if I'm gonna look big anyway, I might as well be big. Or if I'm gonna feel big, I might as well be big. So I started growing muscle, and here I am now trying to lose that weight.
Mm-hmm. And for others too, as well as yourself, cardio isn't always the way you'd have to lose weight, right? Um, Obviously, like for myself, for my first like 3 months of quarantine, I didn't do any cardio at all. I didn't work out at all. I just did my fasting, cut my diet, and I was able to lose 10 pounds that way, right?
Yeah.
But it's when my weight started to like sort of flatline. It wasn't really a flat line on my graph, but it basically flatlined. Is when I had to implement um, cardio on top of that because I was like, okay, you know what? I want to try and speed up the process. It's all just about how long or how short you want to make this journey feel like. Um, and that is like I always chose a cardio activity in which I enjoy. So it's obviously usually could be basketball or jump roping, so that it doesn't feel like I'm forced to do this. And at least with basketball, I'm working towards the goal. It's like, okay, I must shoot. I had to shoot 50% out of 25 or over 50% from 25 shots in this spot, or make all my layups in this spot within like 2 minutes, right?
Hmm.
It's just setting those mini goals within what you like to do. And if you like running, that's okay too. That's like a completely fine. Just personally, I don't like running. It just feels a little too
No,
much.
I hate. Well, I don't hate running. It's just that like I feel like okay, I don't know how to describe this feeling, but basically, when I'm running or when I'm trying to jog, right, my legs sort of get tired, or like I get tired, but my stamina is still there. Like I know that I can keep running. It's just that my body physically cannot run anymore. Like I have the stamina and the energy to keep running, but I don't have the, I guess, like the physical capability to keep running after longer than like 30 seconds, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just comes with like training over and over again. Along with you too is that I'm actually gonna have to implement running soon as well, just because it when I was playing basketball a lot, running does help with vertical, and I want to be able to dunk before the end of my senior year. That's like one of my goals I have.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to start doing I don't like to, but along with that, you have that mindset where it's like, okay, I want to lose weight, so I'm going to do this. Like, yeah, it's gonna suck now, but later, it's gonna benefit me as well.
Yeah. And you'll get better at it. You'll get better at it as time goes on. All right.
Yeah, and maybe who knows, we'll get so good at running, um, it won't feel like too much as a chore anymore, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. So
It's the goal,
anyways, we're gonna move on to our second segment. This
sir.
this video is sponsored by. No, I'm kidding. We're not sponsored. We're not
if
sponsored by
if
anyone.
only
If only. Oh my god. Did you hear
we
that Raid Shadow Legends like? Well, I don't know if I should talk about it here, but like,
uh
uh, what's it called?
tread
Tread
carefully.
carefully. All right. Well, I guess if there's anything else, is Raid. If there's anyone from Raid Shadow Legends, I don't know, marketing that sees this video, we would love to sponsor you guys. Please, like, just contact us at our email, which I don't.
We don't
We
even have an
we
email.
do have an email. That's how we started this YouTube
We
channel.
do, we do, but it's not like a business
I
email,
mean,
right? It's not like
no, it kind of is. Like, we can use it as a business email if they want to contact us about anything, right?
digress, but yeah, the sponsors would be nice,
Yeah.
right?
So we should probably
Um,
check that email. Maybe we're getting like emails from sponsors, so we're not. Because I don't know about you, but I haven't checked that email in a while.
uh-uh, not
Yeah,
once.
I should probably check that email sometime, just in case. But moving on to our second segment, this is the sort of like the Reddit section. I don't know what to call this. The Ask Reddit section, but it's not necessarily Ask Reddit. I mean, today is gonna be Ask Reddit, but it's not gonna be Ask Reddit all the time. So I guess it's like I don't know. What do you call this? What would you call this one?
I don't know, dude. For now, we'll just say insert name segment.
Insert name segment. All right, let's go with that for now. All right, insert name segment. So we take questions that we see on the internet, mainly Reddit, and we kind of just give our own opinions on it. And the question that I found basically is, hold on, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up on my laptop. The question that I found is, what are some things that sound like compliments but are actually insults?
Given to us by Reddit user Dr. Woby, spelled with a lot of zeros.
Whoa, Dr. Whoa boy? Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, whoa
Whoa
boy.
boy.
Yeah,
Who boy? Dr.
my bad, my bad.
Who
Who boy?
Who boy?
Yeah, the who boy
Who
probably.
boy? Anyways, so yeah, what are some things that sound like compliments but are actually insults?
Okay. So from the way I read this question, and obviously I read like, some of the comments already, but um, like, so for me, one instance is that it was like a little bit after I started lifting and losing a lot of weight. Initially, it was like freshman year, so this is a long time
Mm-hmm.
ago. So my friend, like, for I don't know, we were just doing something random, and he kind of just like poked my forearm, right? And obviously, I was a lineman in football, a D lineman, and so I was a little bulkier, right? But like, he touched it, like, damn, bro, you're actually made more of muscle. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And then I'm like, wait, hold on. You just tried to call me fat. It's like he expect like he said like, oh no, I thought it'd be more flubber than anything, but I was actually surprised that it was more muscle. I'm like, okay, dude, all right, dude.
Yeah, it's one of those
But
like
it's like,
it's one of those like
go ahead.
awkward like conversations. Like, no, I meant to compliment you, man. I'm so sorry.
Okay. But that I don't know if it's like if that's along the lines of what the question's asking, but it's like some things like that they're primed or like they say it in a way where it's like it's a compliment, but you think about it again like later on, it's like wait, hold on, that's kind of a little double sided there.
Oh, yeah.
You know
Um,
what I'm saying?
yeah. So you bringing that story up, I actually now have a second one, but I'm gonna go with my first one for now. Then I'll mention the second
Okay.
one later. So the one that so this is kind of like, it depends on the tone that you say it with, right? But something that's a compliment but can actually sound like an insult, or it can be an insult, is when people say, "Good for you." Like, "Oh, I just got a promotion. Oh, good for you." Like, it's the way that you say it could either sound like you're being sarcastic. Like, if you say it sarcastically, it sounds insulting. But if you try to say it genuinely, or genuine, I guess, then it sounds like an actual compliment. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever heard someone say that?
Oh yeah. Um, I've definitely used it a couple times myself, but it's not out of like sarcasm. It was actually just because I was like, oh man, good for you, dude. Like good on you. Like that's how I'd say it.
Yeah,
But there are a couple of times where I wasn't really in the mood to talk, where I'd say, "Oh, good for you," and it sounded like I was pissed at them or something. I'm like, "Oh, wait, no, I didn't mean it that way, but it came off that way."
yeah,
Right?
and it's hard because, like, sometimes we're just not in the mood, so we say, "Oh, good for you," but it's gonna sound like, "Oh, we don't care about what they're actually saying.
Yeah,
Or like, "I don't like this person for achieving that." No, good for you, man. Yeah, that's it's
it's whatever.
yeah, it's like a slippery slope of like being nice
Yeah,
and being mean, and I think that's what makes it tricky, because it sounds nice, or it either sounds nice or it sounds mean. It can't be like in between.
yeah, right. And it's really just the way you say things, honestly.
Yeah,
With this terms of this discussion, and if you say it, if you like, if a person just says it at you more offensively, it's most likely they mean it that way, unless they're in a bad mood. But otherwise, it's most likely they mean it that way.
yeah,
That's why I just kind of avoid saying like little phrases like that. So that's why I'd say, "Good on you, dude. That's amazing," or "Good on you, girl. That's amazing." Or like I would just say "nice," like "nice." Um, like just there's just some things I just try to avoid just in case people get too offended. Because nowadays you never know, dude.
yeah. But then again, like, the way people say things nowadays is like, you don't know if they're actually like complimenting you or they're being sarcastic about it. Sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes you could never tell. There's, like some people that you just have that tone. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, wait, was that sarcasm or no? And then like totally like completely serious. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and it depends from like person to person too. So it's like it's very long story short, it's very tricky, like, going around other people, like knowing what the right thing to say to other people, because it depends on the person, it depends how you say it, depends on a lot of factors. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
so going on to the second example that I had, so because you remind me of this example basically, but
Hmm.
I knew this person that had, I think, like I think this person might have had like some body image problems or something. I don't know, but they were uh, I don't know if I should say this, but they were anorexic. I think. Um, and so they got skinnier because of that, right? And
Yeah.
someone else commented and saying like, "Oh, you got skinny. Wow, I like that." But it's like it's a genuine compliment what that person said, right? Because normally, like, some people think like, "Oh, you got skinny. That's a good thing," right? Like that's what people are usually, because usually people aim to be skinny, unless you're like a bodybuilder and you're aiming to be big, but usually people aim to be skinny. So that person meant it as a compliment, right? But what that person doesn't know is that that's actually, in my opinion, that actually kind of sounded insulting, because what they didn't know was that that person was actually anorexic. So it's a compliment, but it's a reminder of like something that they're going through, and it's kind of, I guess it might seem a little bit insulting or something. I don't know. That's how I looked at that situation.
Yeah, and definitely if it's from that person's perspective, like the one who has anorexia nervosa, if if like the other person who's trying to compliment them doesn't know they have that health issue, obviously to them they may interpret it as like, oh wow, okay, you're making a comment of my body, right?
Yeah.
And not to say that the person who was complimenting or trying to had the intention of making a comment on her body, but you just never know. Like exactly with that, you never know if someone's going through like some weight problem or something. It's a very fine line when you're trying to compliment someone on their body, right?
Yeah. That's why it's like you just try to avoid. I guess like the easiest way to do that is just that you just try to avoid that situation unless that person brings it up. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Or you just, I think, I don't know. I haven't tried it too much. I wouldn't try to try it too much. I would just try and keep it blunt, like, "Oh, you look great today," or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then that person's gonna be
But
like,
those,
"Oh, you mean to tell me I don't look great on any other days or whatever like that?" I was like, "All right, well,
oh, no,
well,
so no, no, I didn't,
anyways."
I didn't mean that. But yeah,
Yeah.
God, that's anxiety-inducing situation.
God, I'm gonna be here like, what if I said yes to that question? What if one day just goes say, "Yeah, you look like shit every other day"? What
Yeah,
if,
that's why I said you look good today.
oh my god, I have to be like best friends with that person for that to happen. Like, I can't.
I know, or else I would have.
Whoa, can you imagine how awkward that is? Just a random person going up, you're like, "Oh, you look great today," and then they say that, you're just like, "Yeah, you look like shit every other day."
Like, wait, whoa, hold on.
I wonder if that's
Y-
ever happened. Like how that other person ever responded.
Oh my god, I don't know. I know what happens to Tim the Tapman a lot. It's one of the funniest things. Is like, Tim, you look great today. It's like, oh, thanks, dude, but your dent is still there. Wait. For some context, he has a dent in his head from the headset,
Hmm.
and he's bald, so it's very visible.
Oh, I see. I
So it's something like that.
I see people like giving kind of giving that guy a hard time for like how bad he is at Fortnite or something. Like what a
Fall Guys.
huh?
How bad he is at Fall
Oh,
Guys.
Fall Guys. Okay, maybe it's like other games. I don't know. But yeah, one of the people that I used to watch, Cypher. He like, I follow him on Twitter, and sometimes he tweets like some mean stuff to Tim, and it's like, wow, I can't believe Tim lasted this long being so bad at Fortnite. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, what the hell? But then but I mean, I think like they're like friends, right? They're part of
No,
like,
they're
yeah.
friends. They're good
So
friends.
it's like all
And,
in all in good jest in a sense.
and it's all part of the joke, too. Like, yeah, Tim's doing bad, but like the thing that he always says in his streams, like, if I just keep losing in Fall Guys, I'll keep averaging like 150K plus viewers every time on stream.
Yeah.
Like, he's smart, but he wants to win. But yeah, it's like something like those. It's like it's double edged. It's like you just trick someone because obviously, if you say it to anyone else, unless you're just that type of person, you'd probably catch a flying knee to the
Oh
face
yeah.
or a slap.
Yeah. So
Be like, dude, hey, your hair, you got a nice haircut today. The other one was shit.
it's like,
Oh my
wow,
god.
you're up and early today. No. What else?
Or this one exactly. Oh, let's say this person. We'll name them um Jim. Jim's like the name I just default to.
Okay.
Oh, Jim, you're in this class? I didn't know that. I thought you were in regular. I'm like, whoa, okay, relax. You just called him done inadvertently.
Or
Or it could be the opposite way around. Which actually happened to me. Uh, yesterday I was at school.
mm-hmm.
Um, this year I decided not to take AP Gov because I didn't want to put that on my plate.
Yeah.
Instead I took AP Micro Macro, but that's besides the point. So I was in the class, and the class is like what me and my friends say, it's full of rocks. As students, the rocks, right? So it's full of rocks. And then someone was like, "Ralph, you're in this class? I thought you would have been in AP." I'm like, mm-hmm, same,
It's like, no.
same.
Like, no, I just want to take this class, instead of putting another class on my plate. God.
Yeah.
Ah.
And that's not, of course I have, man, now I sound like an asshole, but I'm just gonna go. So there's a big reason why I always choose, or I try to choose honors or AP classes above regulars, because when it comes to group work, some people aren't the most
Oh
reliable,
my
if that makes
God.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. I still remember this. I was in high school, and I think it was psychology or whatever. It was either psychology or sociology. I
Mhm.
basically did this one group project all by myself. Like, I
Oh,
told people like, "Hey guys, these are your roles" or whatever like that. But knowing the people that I was with, I was like, I know for a fact. Inside my head, I'm like, I know for a fact none of you are gonna do any of the shit that I just told you guys. So I'm gonna be ready and just do this entire thing by myself. And so I did. And we still got, I think we got a B or an A in that project. I don't know, but we did pretty well in that project. But I'm sitting here like, I did this entire thing by myself. Fuck you guys. Like, ah, I hate
I know.
I hate that.
And like nowadays, too, teachers are like, "Nope, you got to figure it out." Like if you complain about the group, it's like, "Nope, you got to figure it out."
Yeah,
Like, oh, okay, all right, bro. Thanks, dude. Thanks for your help, teach.
yeah, no. But I mean, like that's
It's
that's
so
what it is
bad.
though. That's like just because someone's slacking doesn't mean you can't doesn't mean that you can't step up on your own. You have to step up for that person sometimes, and that's the reality of
I
things.
know.
Yeah,
I know. It just sucks, right?
yeah.
But if that happens like a real world in a job, there's no way I'm doing another person's work unless I'm getting
Oh
paid
no,
for
that
it.
person's getting
Like,
fired.
no cap. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I'm not gonna do another person's work.
yeah.
Um,
So should we read the other comments on that Ask Reddit section?
yeah, and I found one is pretty interesting too. It's like we've already said it a couple times too. It's any compliment that has the word actually in it, right? So it's like, oh, you're actually quite smart. Oh, you're actually quite pretty.
That's true. Oh
Oh,
man.
hey man, you're actually really strong. I'm like, huh? What do you mean?
What do you mean? Do I look weak?
What do you mean? I'm actually quite strong. Do I not look strong? Like, did I just lift for no reason?
Dude.
What in the world? There's one where it's like you're the top of the bell curve.
Oh my god. This
um,
one too. It's by username day too short or days too short. You were so pretty as a child.
I
Oh.
was like, wait, you just called me ugly?
It's like, yeah, no, no, no. I'm just saying, like,
You were prettier as a
yeah.
child. Oh, hold on.
Username Lucy. Hold up. Username Lucy Viali says, "You're very brave to wear that color." Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
You're very brave to tell me that.
You were very brave that told me that. Catch me outside. Catch me outside by the lamppost, I swear. Oh
Yeah,
my god, there's another
you're
one.
red today. You want to
Um,
end up looking red today?
like, what do you mean? I always wear this color. She was like, oh, you're still brave for doing it. Another one's from Lulu underscore 42. It's a good thing you're pretty! Exclamation point.
Oh my god. Okay.
Those are. Whew.
Okay, so I guess follow-up question from that. Uh, do you think looks matter?
Hmm. 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 Uh, okay. All right. So here's my opinion on looks.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
Here we go. So I'm gonna be honest, bro. What like they do, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
honestly, if you haven't known the person you're interested in for a long time, like what's your first impression of a person, right? From across, like say you're in Starbucks, you see someone from across the room. What's your first impression?
Their
Their
looks,
looks, right?
right?
If you have a new classmate in college, what's your first impression about them?
Their looks.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And if like it's different if you've known that person like your entire life. It's no, I don't love her for her looks. I love her for her personality. Yeah, that's fair. But if it's someone new and you're interested, you're most likely gonna be interested at them because of their looks. Unless it's like a special situation where they were just talking in class and they talk about their interests and it's similar to yours. But
Yeah,
more often than not, it's their looks.
yeah.
So
No, I think
that's my opinion.
yeah. No, I agree. I think that that's sort of like the sad reality that we live in a sense. Well, it's not completely sad where it's like if you're into looks that means you're shallow. I don't think that's the case. I don't think like just because like you value looks on someone doesn't mean you're shallow. Now, if that's the only thing you value of a person, then yeah,
Then
then yeah,
yes.
that's very shallow. But I think we've sort of grown up with the media that tells us that it didn't mean to send us this message, but this is kind of like the message that we sort of got, and that is the fact that uh, looks don't matter, and if you think it matters, you are shallow as a person, which is not true. Like both of those statements aren't true. Um, but there are some sad realities about it where some people will give others who look better more attention or more of the time of their day than people who aren't good looking or who aren't funny. You know, like you have to be, if you're not good looking, you have to be funny in a sense, kind of thing, right?
From a banging personality.
Yeah, basically, you have to be funny, charismatic, or you good looking. You can't be none of the three. And if you're none of the three, then people won't give you the time of the day. And
Hmm.
that's kind of like that's the whole reason why. And this is gonna get a lot of controversial stuff here, but that's the reason why we have this whole thing with quote unquote like Twitch thoughts or the ego streamers. Like that's why people put a lot of like emphasis on those people. It's because you know people like they look good and people would wanna watch that. You know. Um.
Yeah.
What else?
And it's like it's kind of the formula for being successful on YouTube or streaming, right?
Yeah.
So what an interesting case that Tim the Tatman also made is that the people will only pay attention to you if you're funny or you're like cracked at a video game, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there's exceptions for egos, but that's what it
Yeah.
is.
And
But if you're not funny, you're not gonna get views. If you're not good, you're not gonna get views.
yeah, and just to clarify, like I don't think there's anything wrong with having like I guess e-girls because it's everyone's streaming at the same time. Like
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with it. If people go to you for your looks, that's completely fine. That's on them. That's not on the streamer. You know. Um, but what else? But yeah, like the whole thing is just that like even when it comes to like relationships, like the first thing you notice about a person that you're attracted to, or for most people, the first thing that they notice about a person that they're attracted to is their looks, because they're either very pretty or they're very handsome. It's what people notice first. It's what draws people into you, and I think that's why it sort of matters as well. It may seem kind of bad, but everyone has their type, and if you're not a person's type, if you're like in terms of like physical sense, then they're not gonna go for you, or they're not gonna go for you initially. But if you're funny or you're charismatic, they might go for you as well. But if you're not someone's type, they're not gonna they're not gonna give you the time of day, or they're less likely to give you the time of their day.
Yeah, and the way that I can relate it to make a little more sense out of my thoughts is clickbait, right?
Yeah.
So, say I've never been on a dating app or anything, but like, say when you look at a person, right, or like in terms of catfish, right? That's how catfish happens.
Yeah.
Is you get clickbait in quotes, into talking to a person, and they turn out to be someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's over online. But say in real life, you end like, oh, this girl looks nice, and she's really good looking. You go up to talk to her, boom, clickbaited. Her personality is not what you thought it was,
Oh yeah.
right? It's like stuff like that. It's like it's it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes it can go your way, sometimes it doesn't. It's just you can never be too sure. But back to the question, it's like yeah, it's I do think it looks better.
Yeah. And like, don't get us wrong. Like that's not us saying that personality doesn't matter in the end, because
No,
it does. Because if you're dating someone, for example, or if you're in a relationship with someone, you're not gonna stay there for their looks. You're staying there because, like, there's someone that you can agree with. There's
you
someone,
vibe with.
yeah, there's someone you enjoy being with, in a sense. Um, and I mean, like, even then, like, even when with other things too, like, there's some people that might seem that they look really cool and whatnot, or like, oh my god, this person's like a league above me, and then you get to know them, or like, wow, this person's like a lot less cooler than I expected, kind of thing. Like, have you ever had that situation?
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, so one example for me is Markiplier, the person who I kind of inspired to be internally YouTube. 'Cause he's just so funny and he's so like, you know, he's just full of joy. But then whenever he live streams or whenever like as I got to watch him more and more and he talks about more of himself, um, he doesn't seem too he's not too different from what I like. He's not extremely different. He's still that person who grinds every day to make sure his channel does well or make sure that he's putting out content for people that they enjoy, right? Or he still works out. He has take care of a dog. Like these streamers or these celebrities, I don't know so much about celebrities, but these streamers or YouTubers we kind of look up to, they're not so different from us, and they did start where we were, like exactly from right now.
Yeah, people just put those people on a pedestal, and they think like, oh man, like, man, these people, like, they're so cool, like, they have all these things, they have like, they have success, they have fame, they have money, they're charming, their personality. But then once you actually get to know those people, or like what you see on the internet isn't reflective of who they actually are. Like that's what they present themselves to. But when you get to know them, it's like they're just like any other person. Like, it's just, they're a lot
It's
simpler
like
than we make them out to be. And that goes for like an everyday kind of person too. Like, people that you meet at school, people that you meet at work or whatever. You meet someone and like, wow, this person looks like they have their shit together. This person is like, they're so cool. They're into working out and into gaming and all kind of stuff. And then you meet them, it's like, wow, they're just like me. They're not anything special. People aren't as special as you think they are, as we think they are, in a sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I have another example for that as well. Is that so as I mentioned before, I really only have like four close friends that I talk to, um, and they know who I really am when I'm with them or when I'm in school,
Mm-hmm.
like my mindset and what I'm trying to accomplish. But to others, like my other classmates and other friends, um, they only know my side that I kind of really show or you know keep out to the public, which is usually I'm chill. Yes, I get good grades. Yes, I'm sort of smart. Um, I'm quiet sometimes, but that's because I'm trying to focus in class. That type of stuff. And obviously, I have my face when I'm in clubs. I'm more of like outgoing, extroverted, obnoxious, right?
Yeah.
But to my friends, I'm all those combined. But they know my mindset. Like people wouldn't assume that with me that I'm like just I'll just tell it to you guys because it's whatever. Um, hopefully, I'll build a community off of what my ideals are. But is that my goals? Is like I'm like no kidding from this. Like I want to. I like really want like a lot of money. Like be filthy rich if that makes sense.
Mm.
And not to mean that like I don't want to be materialistic because I'm not too materialistic as of now, but it's just like there's a lot you can do in terms of money, and I'm not saying money buys happiness. No, I don't believe it does.
But it's
Um,
it's easier to cry in a Lamborghini than it is in a Honda Civic.
yes, it is. Or it's easy to cry in a modded Honda Civic. It's
Exactly.
like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, money doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy or it does pay for your mortgage, your rent. It does pay for the groceries. It puts food on the table, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It makes you feel more comfortable, right? It gives you opportunities to do what you want later on in life, right?
Yeah.
But most people don't know that because obviously it may come off as this to you guys, but it may seem very arrogant or like, oh, he's like too condescending, something like that. But that's not my intention because I'm not I'm not trying to put anyone down along the way, right? I'm not gonna be so selfish that I'm just gonna step over people to get my goal. No, I want to achieve this goal with others, with my friends. Like all my friends know that I want to be like this, right? I want to invest. I want to earn tons of cash.
Yeah.
Um, but obviously, back to what you were saying, how it's like you never expect a person to be what they are. I can't really tell that to people because like, oh, they'll get the wrong impression, especially if my teachers now. If I tell them that now, they might not give me the recommendation letter, depending on how they look at how I say it and how they look at it.
Yeah.
There's something like
I think it has a lot to do with how you word it out, right? It's like you
that.
can say the exact same thing you said, maybe not exactly the way that you said it, but you can say what you said, but if you say it in a different manner, people will be like, "Oh, I understand where you're coming from. Like I know what you mean by that, and I totally get that." But then another person come along and be like, say they have the same goals as you, and they say it, but the way they said it, are like they sound greedy about it, you know.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I wouldn't know how you can say like, yeah, I want to be rich, or I want to have a lot of money, or like, I guess you could be like, I want to live a comfortable life. You can say that, and
The way I would say it, like,
yeah,
because I always joke to my friends, it's like, oh, I want to be filthy rich. But no, I mean like I want to be financially free. That's what I mean.
yeah,
That definitely sounds a lot better than filthy rich. But
yeah, like
for those of you who are interested in finance stuff, that's the goal:
yeah,
be
like
financially free.
debt free, all that kind of stuff. Just
Exactly.
yeah, that's
Live life to my own accord.
yeah, that is certainly a good goal to have. You know, it's not a bad goal.
Mhm. Definitely not.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to I guess the Reddit, we only have a couple minutes left, so I guess we'll just. Is there anything you want to read off from the Reddit, or do you want to shout anything out before we end it off? Because I think we're still under an hour ish.
Well, I'm in live right now. We're over an hour by like 24 seconds, but like that's considering like the stuff that we've sort of just kept saying earlier. Like before the video, before the actual podcast started.
Yeah.
So we're actually like we're definitely under an hour right now. We probably have I think like 10-ish, maybe 5 to 10-ish minutes of like just random stuff we talked about. And this is one that I just kind of found funny. User submitted by user PGMG17. And this person says, no matter what people say about you, I think you're okay. That kind of hurts. That kind of that's like if someone told me that, I'm like, what the fuck do you mean by that?
Yeah, that's true. I can't see it like that. But Persona 5 though, right? It's like um I won't spoil it too much, but there's a certain girl talking to the main protagonist, and the main protagonist has a certain rep to him, a bad rep. And like one of the girls was like, don't believe the rumors, okay? Like don't listen to the rumors and such. I know you don't seem all that bad. Like that.
Yeah,
Like she's like reassuring you that no, you're not all that bad. You're not what the rumors say. And I guess it sounds like a compliment, but if you don't know what the rumors are, you could see it as like an insult, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely if you don't know what she's talking about, yeah, it can seem like an insult for sure. Um, Another one that's related to what we were talking to earlier is like, wow, you are so different. And then
in what
the
way?
yeah, like what do you mean? And the the creator for the Reddit, it's like, oh, I can hear the sarcasm dripping out of this one. It's like, man,
Ooh,
some people are just like unintentionally brutal.
yeah,
Like, does that make sense? It's like they don't mean it to be super like offensive, but they just kind of come off that
I
way,
know.
you know?
That's the hard part about like talking to people is that if you come off a certain way or a wrong way, people will dislike you. But it's like you're not trying to come off badly. That's just the way you talk, you know. And you can't. Sometimes like some people
Right?
can't help that. You know, like it sucks.
No,
It sucks.
like yeah, like so we're from the Philippines, right?
Hmm.
And for one example is my dad. Like he means all the well. He doesn't mean to be really rude or anything, but what he always says, it's the Batangueño in his voice, and people in Batangas talk really loud or amplified, right?
Yeah.
So like a regular conversation in my house between like my grandmother, my dad, and his sisters. To anyone else, it can sound like an argument, but like to me, it's like, oh no, they're just talking, and that's just how they talk.
Yeah.
Like they can be talking obnoxiously loud, but they're just talking about something as simple as like the weather.
I feel like that's all like Filipino parents or like older Filipino people in America. Uh, like the way that not necessarily like the way that they talk in terms of like how loud their voice is, but in terms of the way they come off, like the things that they say, they mean all the well in the world, like you said. But the things that they say, it's like
But they say it like they're angry at you.
not to say that they're angry, but just the controversial things that they say. Um, I don't want to give any examples because it's like it's gonna be really bad, but it's like they say stuff that's like low key kind of offensive or sometimes even racist, but it's like you know for a fact like they don't really mean anything bad about it. But the way that they said it, it's pretty bad. Not gonna lie.
It, to the normal crowd of people who grew up in America, it would come off as like something offensive,
Yeah.
even if they're saying like if they're explaining something to you, right? That's such how my dad is. If he's trying to explain something to you, he's trying to make sure you kind of get the point across, but a little too much,
Hmm.
even though he's not really trying to. But it could sound like he's like yelling at you to do this correctly, in which he's not trying to, right?
Yeah. There was this one. There's this comedian that some people might know. Jokoi. He made this skit about his sister bringing home her boyfriend. Her boyfriend's black. So when her
Mhm.
mom saw her boyfriend for the first time, she's like, oh, Joseph, Joseph, put my purse in the room. Put my purse in the room. And he's like, Mom, are you kidding me? It's like, that's kind of racist. And she's like, are you kidding me, Joseph? Okay. I would put my purse in the room if it's with anyone. White, black, Filipino, Mexican, anyone. Okay? And then my favorite part of that joke was that um, Jokoi was saying how like his mom was doing some Filipino Jedi shit and making him look bad. And it's like, you know, Joseph, you're racist for thinking that I'm racist. That's like, oh my god, that's exactly what a Filipino person would say.
I know, right? It's like, oh really? It's like they get offended too. It's like they get easily offended. It's like, no, that's not what I meant,
I
man. But
know.
like,
God,
oh, the struggle
the
of being
struggle.
raised as a Filipino child.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I came from the Philippines, so I if anything else, like I should be that. But like no, like I know what you guys go through. It's like it's bad sometimes.
it's bad, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
Ah, and it's not completely bad. Like, there's some things good about Filipino way of like raising a kid, but
Yeah, but I mean,
there's some things that I definitely change.
yeah, but that's gonna
You
be
know.
a topic for another video. Maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks from now. Who knows? Uh,
Yeah,
there's really not much left to talk about. I was gonna say that Gamescom is I think happening this week, and I'm excited for some of the games that are coming out or that might be announced at Gamescom. Hopefully, a new Square Enix game gets announced. I don't know, but
yeah. Sorry if you heard knocking. My sister was like obnoxiously knocking at the door. Uh, yeah. Make sure to follow our main channels in the description down below. I'm so glad that this podcast is just smooth flowing.
yeah, but
It is way different than last week's. I'll just tell you that.
yeah, none of us disconnected, but hopefully the video process is it's nice, you know. If anything else, we can just like edit the actual like live stream itself, and you know, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But slight
It's definitely
correction.
better.
Slight correction. Gamescom's actually this Thursday and not today. So sorry about that.
Oh, rip. But yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
Whoever's watching. But yeah.
that's true. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, for watching episode 4 of Pause Menu Podcast. This has been your hosts, Etoy20 and Rap. And, well, we're going to be unpausing the menu now. See ya.
Peace.